Man, I'm going to tell you what. If you're watching on YouTube, you're seeing it on there. Audio, you can't really see it, but just imagine what I'm holding. I'm holding a orange and black pen. Yes, I decided to be festive because it is Halloween, even though if you're watching me on YouTube, I am wearing a button up, some nice pants and a nice watch, and looking all business casual today. But that's not very Halloween-like, but I'm getting at least a little bit festive for the Halloween season and the Halloween day today, and a special Halloween edition of Pigskin Frenzy with this black and orange pen. Got a lot to talk about when it comes to the NFL, though, don't we? A lot of moves are being made. The trade deadline's Tuesday. We got a lot more to cover on the trade deadline, and we'll cover pretty much the trade deadline next Thursday, but we'll talk about a couple of good moves that have been made coming up ahead of the trade deadline, and some good news out of Indianapolis. You're going to want to hold on or get off the couch, if you know what I mean, for this one. Welcome to Pigskin Frenzy on this beautiful and kind of bone-chilling Halloween reference, get it? Thursday afternoon. Thank you for joining us. I'm Joel Norris. Thank you for joining us. I'm Joel Norris. Whether you're watching on YouTube, listening on Spotify, listening on Podbean, listening on Apple, a big thank you for taking some time out of your Thursday to just sit back, watch, and listen to some Pigskin Frenzy, listen to some NFL coverage presented by me. Now, if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, like each episode, leave comments down below. Spotify, Podbean, and Apple. All you got to do is just share around with others and follow on there as well. X and Instagram, just type in Pigskin Frenzy. Follow like the pages there. You're going to get episode updates. You're going to get news and highlights from across college and NFL football. You're going to get a trivia question on Instagram stories. Go and answer today's NFL question as well as all things up to date for Pigskin Frenzy. Guys, our website is www.pigskinfrenzy.weebly.com. There you'll find the Home and About Me page. Learn more about me as your podcast host. You will find a contact info down below. Name, info, email. I'll answer it on the show or off air if need be. You can also go to the platforms page, click on which one's your favorite listening style of the show, and our affiliations page. Just brings us to our proud partners at the Beard Club. You want a great shave, you want to look good for this Halloween day today, this spooky, bone-chilling Halloween evening. You want to look good with your beard. You want to grow your beard. You want to look fashionable, good, or just shave it off. And either way, there's beard grooming kits or beard growthing kits. And there's a lot that comes with it. Significant others of your male counterpart, listen up for what I got to say right now. These products are beard vitamins, beard oil, beard balm, beard and face wash, hair, Borbers will brush through your hair, combs, razors, and more for the Beard Club, beard grooming and beard growthing kits. There's also 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner, body wash to smell really good and your hair to smell good, and also loofahs for your body wash and bathing needs, and more at the Beard Club. Just go to my website, www.pigskinfrenzy.weebly.com. You'll find more on there. Click on the affiliations page. Click on the Beard Club logo, and it will take you to the site. There's also the link tree. The link tree is at this YouTube description down below. Click on the description. Click on the link tree. You can go to my X bio or my Instagram bio. Click on the link tree, and then you will take you to the Beard Club site through that link. Beard Club, proud partner of Pigskin Frenzy. There's a early bird holiday sale going on. Early bird, EARLYBIRD. Early bird is the code. 25% off for products with the Beard Club. Beard Club, proud partner of Pigskin Frenzy. Thank you for all that you do for the podcast. It's going to help your grooming needs and facial hair needs be met. Let's talk about some NFL football, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to tell you what, man. If I messed up on that intro, I'm sorry. I just had a couple of meetings today, and it was a doozy. Exciting things coming up for Pigskin Frenzy, and exciting things coming up in general for the podcast. So let's talk about some NFL football, and let's talk about let's talk about what happened last week, week 8. By the way, did you see how I became 4-0 in my NFL picks? I got all games right. 4-0 in all of my NFL picks. I'm just saying, I'm the man. All right, nonetheless, but 4-0 in all my NFL picks. Crazy ending to the last game that we covered with the Bears and Commanders. We're going to get to that here in a little bit. We're going to preview the top matchups for Week 9, and there are some doozies on the schedule for that one. Also, some of the latest moves and some news out of Indianapolis. You're going to love. You're very quite interested in what's happening there. So, and we're going to see who's in and out with the NFL injury report. Let's start with our recap of Week 8, and let's kick it off with last Thursday night's game, Thursday Night Football. I said that the Rams were going to upset the Vikings at home. I felt like that with not only Puka Nacua coming back and not only with Cooper Kupp coming back, I felt like it was a recipe for ingredients for this team to spark up a little bit, get some momentum going, and the Rams pull out a win. And I was right about this game. The final score of this football game, final score of this football game, as I look at my notes, was the, if I can get back to my note, there we go. Final score of this game was Rams 30, Vikings 20. I just had a feeling that coming off of a loss to the Lions, that the Vikings were kind of in a bad spot, but we're going to get into that here in a little bit. The Rams 30-20. How about the Rams? Some momentum going to their side in this game early on with Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp both back and healthy for this team. They're 3-4. Vikings are now 5-2. They're 3-4. It is not too late if the Rams want to start something, but if the Rams want to start a run, they need to start it right now and keep up that wave of momentum heading into the later part of the season, in the second half of this season, as we are starting in November now. So let's talk about it. It's getting serious. Rams, can they make a run? I'm going to answer that because I got asked that just a minute ago. I will answer that question here in a little bit. Let's talk about what they did right. I felt like passing was good, 279 yards. They ran the ball well and lowered the Vikings rushing, with 107 to their 64 rushing yards. And not only that, going into this game, the Vikings had the second rushing defense in the National Football League, and they put up 107 on the second National Football ranking defense in this league. And guess what? They ran the ball well and effectively. My brother told me, and he told me this just yesterday when I saw him. He said that running the football, and this is a very good analogy, running the football here is like an oven. You got to preheat it. You got to put the thing in. You got to cook. You got to cook the thing. You got to cook it and cook it and cook it. Cook the run game. I like that analogy. I thought it was really, really good. It made me think, you're right. So that's how balance happens within the offense. You just cook the running back until they get into a consistent rhythm and they start cooking in general. And if you want to look at Kyren Williams and Kyren Williams had 97 yards for 23 carries. Corum had only 4 carries with 9 yards. While it was not eye-catching numbers, like eye-popping numbers throughout the league, like a Derrick Henry or even, it's still good enough to set up the run and to set up the pass and establish the pass with Matthew Stafford. Stafford had 4 touchdowns, 279 yards. He was 25 for 34. Only one blemish, and it was that interception, but Stafford was crazy accurate. He made some good runs and improvised on his own for first downs too. Stafford doing really, really good. He improvised and broke out of tackles to get a touchdown to Cooper Kupp earlier in the first half of that game. It was monumental. It was great. The Rams looked really good on offense. They showed some good poise and some strength on defense, especially on the defensive line, that really, really needed it against this O-line of the Vikings. And the thing is, when you look at the Vikings in general, getting to the injury report, we'll get into that in a minute, but losing Christian Darrisaw was tough. And they found a way, and then now they found a way to kind of help that, but we're going to talk about that here in a little bit. But going up against an offensive line that was good, but also a little bit beat up, the Rams needed to find some momentum in this game, and they really, really did. They really did on both sides of the ball, and they found a way to win this one. Good home win for this team. What does this mean for the Rams in general? Let's talk about that. I think this win means if they're completely healthy and if they can add some more depth to their team, they can make a slight run. Do I think they're going to be a Super Bowl winning team? Most likely not, or not yet. And then who knows? You could be. Anything can happen. Anything in football can happen. But if you look at it on paper right now, it may not look good Super Bowl-wise, but it can look good playoff-wise if they remain healthy and if they can find that spark to keep winning games, especially on the offensive side of things with Nacua and Cooper being back. We're covering another Rams game this week. This week, they have the Seahawks, man. They got the Seahawks Sunday at 4:25 Eastern, 3:25 Central kick. It's in Seattle. Rams at Seahawks, an NFC West showdown here. Let's see if the momentum is going to, the Seahawks need some momentum. The Rams need to continue their momentum. Let's see what happens there. We are covering that game for this Sunday. Cannot wait to cover that one. Rams win this game 30-20. Let's talk about the Vikings before we talk about the other three games. The Vikings and what went wrong. Let me talk about I'm going to get into the officiating because again, I'm tired of officiating, but we're going to talk about what happened at the end of the game, and it should have been called. You're right, but would it have mattered? That's the real question. Everything would have mattered? Let's talk about it. In this game, if you're looking at Sam Darnold played fine. 240, 2 touchdowns, 18 for 25. Aaron Jones was well on the ground, 58 yards, 19 carries. Justin Jefferson had a monster game with 8 receptions and 115 yards. They could not stop Jefferson, but the problem was, if you look at the Vikings, they had 9 penalties for 50 yards. I think the Vikings shot themselves in the foot in penalties in a lot of the ways, and then the Rams capitalized on that defensively. I think. I mean, and here's a key stat. If you want to click the pen, and then write it down here, circle it. My circle moment here. 3 sacks compared to the Rams, 0. Rams, they did not sack Stafford at all. They sacked Darnold 3 times, and they got to Darnold 3 times. So the line of scrimmage battle was a key here. Defensive line for the Rams won it with 3 sacks. It was very key. They kept, shooting themselves in the foot with penalties, and I think they could have made runs because Jefferson was playing lights out. Darnold was playing well, but the Vikings kept shooting themselves in the foot with penalties. And then the Rams played better up front of the line of scrimmage, and I think that's how the Rams won it, and that's how the Vikings lost it. Let's talk about the end of the game with this call. The Rams were in their own end zone. It was a safety, but it was 28-20. It ended up being a safety by the Rams. He threw it out of the end zone. It ended up being a safety by rule. Flag on the play. There was no flags. Rams got the ball back, and then the Rams needed and ended. The thing it should have been an automatic first instead of a safety in the backfield. Why? Because it was a face mask. They missed a huge face mask call, which the league is now going to review. And this is news out of multiple sources that the NFL is going to plan on reviewing the face mask penalty due to this outcome of this game during the offseason. So we'll see if any changes between that rule is made. But the rest made another horrible call, another bad call at the end of this game that determined the outcome of games. This is why I said it in the college episode, and I'm going to say it in the NFL episode here, that why we need full-time officiating. Now, I'm not going to sit there and say I know the budgeting of the league and I know the budgeting of money and everything, but if you have enough money for TV deals and have enough money for Netflix deals, have enough money for a lot of stuff, you can try to get some money up for some full-time officiating. It is hard because it is determining outcomes of games. This is the Vikings' second game that they have dropped because of a face mask call, and the Vikings could have made it. It could have been an automatic first down for the Vikings to continue this game to see if they can try to win it. If they lose it, they lose it. But that was a horrible call on horrible no call by the refs in this one. But nonetheless, the Vikings are 5-2. The Vikings this Sunday have the Colts Sunday night. Colts at Vikings Sunday night, 8:20 Eastern, 7:20 Central on NBC, Sunday Night Football. We're not covering that one, but it should be an interesting game nonetheless for the Vikings to see if they can get back to the momentum. And it also could be an interesting game for the Colts. And we're going to get into that here in a little bit of what's going on out of Indianapolis, because this is going to be an interesting game for the Colts, because to me, this game here turned from I think a winnable game for the Vikings to now let's hold on a second here type game. So that's going to be a game that's very interesting. Not covering it, but it's going to be fun to sit back and watch and talk about. Final score of this game was 30-20. Rams defeat the Vikings. And got that game right on last week's Thursday Night Football. Let's talk about our next game, and it was the Eagles and the Bengals, right? Eagles and Bengals. First half going the Bengals' way. Bengals around halftime ended up letting the Eagles come back. And then in the second half, Nothing at all at home. Nothing. It was all Eagles from here on out. Eagles 37, Bengals 17 was the final score of this game. The Eagles kind of blew the Bengals out in this ball game. I picked the Eagles to win this game. I was right. I just did not trust Cincinnati a little bit, and it's kind of hard to trust Cincinnati by the way they're kind of playing this season. Let's talk about the Eagles, and let's talk about everything that they did right. For starters, if you look at Jalen Hurts had 4 total touchdowns and 273 yards. If you want to look at everything, 273 yards. If you want to look at everything, or 200, I would say 263 yards, maybe 263 yards. If you want to look at everything, math ain't mathin'. Math's not my strong suit, but he had 3 total touchdowns, 236 in the air passing, 16 for 20. 3 on the ground, 1 on the pass for touchdowns, and 37 yards on the ground. Saquon Barkley had 108 yards, 22 carries on the day. Devontae Smith had a touchdown, 85 yards. A.J. Brown cooking with 84 yards. Dallas Goedert did not play due to a hamstring injury. Hopefully he's back and ready to go, and ready for this coming up Sunday against the Jaguars. But let's see how that goes there. Eagles were just all over them in this game, offensively. The Bengals defense had no answer for them through the pass, through the run, especially through the run. Jalen Hurts got ground touchdowns 3 times. Saquon had 108 on the ground. He was cooking piece by piece by piece. It was slow and methodical, 4.9 yards per carry. Very slow and methodical by this Eagles rushing team. They're the second, currently number 2, as far as I know, if I look in the stats, as the second, currently second in rushing offense in the National Football League. How are the Bengals going to stop that, right? If it was slow and methodical like that, it's going to tire out that defense, burn them, and then that's how they're going to get the win. If you look at the team stats, third down efficiency was good for both teams. Penalties were a little bit on the favor of the Bengals, because the Bengals only had 1. Eagles had 4. But here's the problem with the Bengals, and here's the circle. Or there's 2 moments for the Bengals and what happened, and this is what happened for the Eagles and how they won. And you can compare it, right? Let's go for the circle moment, compare it for the Eagles, and then we'll go with the circle moment when we talk about the Bengals. Circle moment for the Eagles. Here's the circle moment. 161 rushing yards compared to their 58. They didn't run the ball well, but the Eagles did. And I think the running was a huge problem. I said it was. I said it was going to be a huge problem if the Eagles get going on the ground. It's going to be kind of hard for the Bengals to stop them, and it was. Jalen Hurts did well on the pass, too, but that ground game is methodical, man. They converted on third down. They were efficient on third down, 6 for 11, which was really, really good. They had incredible poise on offense. Defensively, they looked good. They snagged 2 turnovers. We're going to talk about that here in a little bit. They snagged 2 turnovers, even though the Bengals' third down efficiency was really, really good, 10 for 13. But the defense played really, really good and physical. Once they got him a sack. Eagles did not get a sack. Didn't allow a sack. Rather, they protected Jalen Hurts. They played a really, really physical ball up front, and the running was the main strong suit for this team. Now, for the Eagles in the division and as a whole, if you look at this game, does it send a message to the division as a whole? I think it does. I think what the Eagles did Sunday against the Bengals was a dominating performance on the road, sends a strong message to the Cowboys, Giants, and the Commanders that they are still in the division, but the Commanders aren't backing down, and we're going to talk about that one here in a little bit. They look good in their division. If they keep winning the way they're playing, they're going to have a playoff spot, and they just are balanced on offense, incredibly balanced, and they showed that this Sunday. And there's really nothing else to say about the Philadelphia Eagles other than that if they play like this, with play calling the way it is, defense is finally starting to come onto its own physically with Vic Fangio's defense. It could be something for the Eagles. They can make a run. They made it to the Super Bowl in Super Bowl 57 a year and a half, 2 years ago. Can they make an actual run in reality? There's a chance that they could. Let's just see how it plays out. 37-17 was the final score of this game. Let's talk about the Bengals. I'm going to be honest. The Bengals needed this win badly. They needed this win today because they can't keep affording to lose some games. Because to get into the playoffs, 10 wins is a very likely spot. I mean, if you have 13 or 14, you're automatically golden for the playoffs. But it's between 9 to 10 wins. It's 10 wins. 10 wins are the minimum. 9 wins are doable for the playoffs. You can get in with 8 or 9 wins, but it's got to be from the help of others. And you don't really want to rely on the help of others and clinching and possibilities and seeding, and this team has to lose. They can get in, they can clinch a spot with this loss or a team losing or with and a loss from another team. All that stuff gets complicated, and the Bengals have now found themselves into that realm because they could win out still. They're 3-5. If they win out and they go, let's say 8-5, 9-5 or whatever, and win the 9 games, it's doable, yes. But it's going to be harder now to get into the playoffs because you had a winning season, quote unquote, but you still didn't get into the playoffs. And to me, it's still a losing season if you don't make it in. So, I mean, you have a winning season technically, but if you don't make it in, what are we really playing for, right? So, that's how I view it. With the talent they got on both sides of the ball on offense, I don't know what's happening with this team, but the only thing I can really look at is coaching, and it's Zach Taylor and his scheme. Because if you want to look at it on paper, on the regular season, not so hot record-wise. Postseason-wise, yes, he made it to a Super Bowl. He did with Joe Burrow. But coaching-wise, it's not panning out. Play calling isn't panning out on both sides of the ball. Head coaching-wise, it's not panning out, and they're losing games like this that they could be winning. Joe Burrow has a solid record against NFC teams, and it's so like Lamar Jackson, and it's slowly staggering because of play calling and stuff like this. They couldn't really move the ball on the ground at all this past Sunday. If you want to look at their yards, they had 58 rushing yards total. If you want to look at that and how that worked out for them. Efficient on third down, 10 for 13. They were passing the ball well, 222 yards. Here is the circle moment for the Bengals, if you want to look at it. Circle moment. Clicking the pin, circling it down. The circle moment. 2 turnovers compared to their no turnovers. They turned the ball over twice. Fumble and an interception. And it was that those are 2 crucial mistakes, 2 costly turnovers, and that helped the Eagles seal the win in this game. 37-17. It was literally a 20-point win 20-point home loss for the Bengals. What is going on with the Bengals? I do not know, but they got to get it figured out, and they got to look into the mirror. It's a culture problem. I think it turns towards coaching. I'm not trying to shift the blame, but I'm trying to see what the problem is, and the problem is looking like a culture thing, and it needs to be addressed by Zach Taylor and this football team or owner or management. That's how I view it. They're a talented team. They got a really talented quarterback in Joe Burrow and a talented receiver in Jamar Chase. They're losing T. Higgins. It's not looking solid as of late for Cincinnati. So play calling's got to change. Coaching could change. I don't know if it is or not, but if you want to look at it and think about it, this falls a lot on the coaching staff and Zach Taylor for the Cincinnati Bengals. 37-17 is the final. The Eagles Sunday for the Jags at 1 Eastern, 4:05 Eastern, 3:05 Central. Jags at Eagles Sunday afternoon. The Bengals coming up have the Raiders. 1 Eastern, noon Central. Raiders at Bengals. Home game for the Bengals. They play the Raiders. 1 Eastern, noon Central. Let's see how the Bengals can respond against the Raiders. Eagles 37, Bengals 17. Eagles are 5-2. Bengals are 3-5, and they had to find a way to get some momentum back into this season. 2 more games. Let's talk about them here on Week 8, and let's just discuss them here. Falcons and Bucks. I said I was going to cover this rematch because I thought this rematch was very interesting after that Thursday Night Football Week 5 debacle in overtime when Kirk Cousins became Kirk Chains and threw that dime in overtime. And this time it was at Tampa Bay. Kirk Cousins said, "We're not going to get trapped in this," and he was chanting that during the tunnel walk on the road in adversity. I said the Falcons were going to find a way to get the win. I think that that right now the turnover margin for the Bucs are just a tad bit worse, a tiny bit. And it was. I called it, got the game right. Falcons 31, Buccaneers 26, and the Falcons, with a bold move that I made, won the football game. They beat the Buccaneers and swept them in the season series and put them at a bigger advantage in the NFC South division. They're 5-3. Bucs are 4-4. Let's talk about the Falcons and see what they did right. Everything. If you want to look at what they did, and it was a circle moment. Circle moment for the Falcons. That's my new term for each game. Circle moment. 0 turnovers. They did not turn the ball over like they did against the Seahawks. They had more momentum. They were more motivated, and they ran the ball well as well. Efficient on third down, 6 for 12, 129 yards on the ground, passing 265 yards. Kirk Cousins looked really, really good. Minimized the penalties. They had 4 penalties. They just played a very clean and protective football game. On the attack, which was good. 4 touchdowns for 276 yards. 23 for 29 was Kirk Cousins. Bijan had 63 yards. Tyler Allgeier had 33 yards. Kyle Pitts had 91 yards and 2 touchdowns. Darnell Mooney, 1 touchdown. And Bijan had a 43 yards and receiving touchdown. 86 yards for Darnell Mooney and a touchdown. Offense was clicking on all cylinders, and the defense was firing on all cylinders, pressuring Baker Mayfield, getting to the line of scrimmage, and winning the line of scrimmage physically in this ball game. Kirk Cousins made some accurate decisions that are pretty solid in leading a playoff team. If Kirk Cousins plays the way he plays, comeback player of the year, no doubt in my mind, because of coming back from a dangerous injury like the Achilles injury. And not only that, this team could be a playoff team if they can keep playing consistent football like this. Play consistent, play well, do not turn the ball over as much, play clean on the penalties, win the line of scrimmage battles, run the ball effectively with Bijan, have a balanced offense, play solid defense where you rush the quarterback with Matthew Judon, got a new edge in Matthew Judon. If you look at how this Falcons team is equipped, are they an automatic Super Bowl contender? They could be a playoff contender. Don't know about a Super Bowl contender just yet because they still need some pieces. Raheem Morris still needs pieces for this team, but they look like a team that can win some ball games even more and find themselves in a playoff spot here shortly if they can keep doing that. And this game proved that. This wasn't going to go into overtime in Kirk's mind. This was going to be a win for the Falcons. They moved the ball quite well on this defense, and the Buccaneers defense is a solid team. Top 15 and top 10 in rushing defense, and they ran the ball quite well on this defense. Buccaneers have some guys, man. They're a very physical team, and they out-physicaled them on the road in Tampa Bay. Granted, Buccaneers had some injuries, which kind of cost them in a way, but that's not an excuse. Falcons were a good football team, and they ran the ball quite well. I'm glad that they did not commit as many penalties as they normally do. They commit a lot of penalties usually, and they minimized that. They got that out of the way, done, done, out of the way. Kirk Cousins is a solid quarterback in this league, top 10 quarterback in this league, no doubt. Falcons win it 31-26. Kirk Cousins showed why he's the man. Falcons Sunday got the Cowboys, 1 Eastern, noon Central kick in Atlanta. Interesting game there. Sunday in Atlanta. Dallas goes to Atlanta, 1 Eastern, noon Central in Atlanta. We're going to talk about that here in a little bit. Let's talk about the Bucs before we move on to the last game of the day, and then we'll go to our injury report and news around the league, and then top matchups for Week 9. So, Buccaneers in this ball game. Here are the circle moments there. Now, if you want to look at this, Baker, 2 interceptions, 3 touchdowns, 333 yards. He was 37 for 50. Solid stats from Baker Mayfield. Mayfield tried hard. Mayfield is a solid quarterback in this league. I'll even put him at top 15, top 10, probably top 10 in the league as well. Baker Mayfield is a solid quarterback and has earned everything for this Buccaneers team. They ran the ball, 44 yards for Bucky Irving. Rashad White had 29. Tucker had 3 yards. Jalen McMillan had 17 yards. Baker Mayfield had 11 yards. Defense Receiving, K. Otten, 81 yards. Jared had 58. Irving had 40. Rashad White had a receiving touchdown with 38 yards. Let's go to the stats, and let's look at the key moments here. Third down efficiency, great. 9 for 14. Very efficient on third down. Here was the circle moment for this team. 2 interceptions, 1 fumble, 3 turnovers in this ball game. 3 turnovers. The circle moment is that the turnover margin. Falcons played clean football. They protected the ball. Buccaneers did not, and I think those crucial turnovers were costly in this game. 6 penalties for 45 yards. The best thing about this team was they did not allow a sack. They are so good up front on offensive line. They're one of the best O-lines in the NFL by far, probably top 5 if you want to rank them that way, because they protect Baker Mayfield well. Mayfield doesn't get sacked a whole lot. And if so, that defense is solid. Mayfield gets protected and he has time to throw. That offensive line is strong. But the turnovers are pretty rough. 2 interceptions, 1 fumble, and I think that is where the pieces just started to crumble for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at home this past Sunday. The rushing, they had only 102 rushing yards, so they ran the ball okay, but not effectively enough to win the game by no means. It's just the turnovers are what really catches my eye. I keep talking about that, but it's really catching my eye only because of everything going on in the turnover margin, especially in these games as the stretch keeps going there. Swept them. Two games that the Buccaneers have lost to the Falcons in the season series. They'll play next season, but let's see. If they make it to the playoffs, they may play again, but who knows? But the Buccaneers are pretty much second in the division. Let's see what happens as the Bucs keep going. They have a tough game Monday. Loud, raucous Arrowhead on the road. Monday Night Football. We are covering that game. Yes, I know we're covering another Buccaneers game. You're thinking you've covered too many. I know. They're playing the Chiefs, and they're playing them at Arrowhead. And Monday Night Football is just a game that we would have to cover. It is pretty much a solid game for Monday Night Football. Coming up 8:15 Eastern, 7:15 Central on ESPN Monday night. Final score of this game was 31-26. Falcons defeat the Buccaneers. Falcons looked really, really good, man. They looked really, really good. Bucs still solid, but they just got to figure out some things, especially in the injuries. The injuries are what's costing them as well. No Chris Godwin, no Mike Evans for a few weeks. I doubt Mike Evans plays Monday too. Tough sledding there, but let's see what happens against the Chiefs team that is solid defensively, and then their defense is just helping them, keeping them in these ball games. So 31-26, Falcons defeat the Buccaneers. Falcons had the Cowboys Sunday. Monday night, the Bucs go to Arrowhead to play the undefeated, defending back-to-back Super Bowl champ Chiefs. Okay, last game, Bears-Commanders, before we go to the injury report, other news across the league ahead of the trade deadline, and the preview predictions for Week 9. Last game on tap for Week 8, Bears and Commanders. Probably my favorite game of the weekend, probably the best game of the weekend for the NFL was the Bears and the Commanders. Back and forth between the two rookie quarterbacks just going at it. Commanders had to lead the whole game pretty much. It was 12-0, and the Bears came back and scored 12-7. Commanders had to lead the whole time until they didn't. They scored. The Bears, Caleb Williams came down at the last remaining second, battling through adversity. They didn't know what to do with Caleb Williams. He was going and making plays and making accurate decisions. Goes in for a touchdown and then goes for 2, gets the 2-point conversion to make it 15-12. Bears 15, Commanders 12, and it was all but sewn up. The Bears were going to win this game late after not leading the whole game. Then they got the lead for the last remaining minute or two in this ball game against the Commanders. And then all of a sudden, Jaden Daniels does Jaden Daniel things, tosses that ball up for a Hail Mary, and prayers were answered. Touchdown Commanders, and the Commanders with a walk-off Hail Mary by Jaden freaking Daniels 18-15, Commanders 18, Bears 15. I picked the Commanders to win. I got it right. Final with this game was Commanders 18, Bears 15. The Commanders nailing a Hail Mary last second to defeat the Bears in a home game. And Jaden Daniels said that I'm like that. Yes, you are, sir. You are definitely that dude. Especially in your rookie year, you made a huge impact on the year so far. Let's talk about Mr. Jaden Daniels and the Washington Commanders. They played a heck of a game this past Sunday. 481 total yards on offense for the offense. Jaden Daniels had 200. Jaden Daniels had 20. He was 21 for 38, 326 yards, and a touchdown. He also had that Hail Mary touchdown, and he also had 52 yards on the ground with 8 carries. Brian Robinson had 65 yards, 16 carries. Austin Eckler had 52 yards and 7 carries. Receiving, Terry McLaurin, 5 receptions for 125 yards. Scary Terry could not be denied in this game. Noah Brown, 73 yards and that touchdown. Zach Ertz, 77 yards and 7 carries. And they just looked really, really good in this game. Bears defense played solid. We're going to get to that here in a little bit. But this offense played really, really well. Up until the final stretch, the Commanders' defense kind of slowed down and stepped their foot off the gas. We're going to talk about that here in a little bit. But this offense was cooking at first, going down the field, but that Bears defense was just too hard to be denied. Stopping them in the red zone, kicking field goals, and just kicking field goals, and kept on kicking field goals. They had 3 field goals. 3 field goals, 12 points, and then the only touchdown they scored was the touchdown pass in the Hail Mary. Commanders ended up playing a solid game, but the Bears defense was solid too. That line of scrimmage battle was something to behold. It was something really, really interesting in this game. The line of scrimmage battle was quite closer than we could process. They would make some good plays, and then the Bears defense would make some good plays. I think their red zone trips were a little bit, like they would halt at the red zone a lot. They would get down the field quite nicely, then halt at the red zone a lot due to that defense. But in some areas, it was just decision making and timing, and just had to kick a field goal. Jaden Daniels is that guy. He moved the ball around a lot in this game, and he did quite well on the ground and through the air. Let's talk with Terry McLaurin. They were efficient on third down, 5 for 15, kept going. You had to win on third down if you were the Commanders, and they did. The circle moment here for the Commanders was the third downs, 5 for 15 efficiency, 168 yards on the ground. Didn't outrush the Bears, but they played well through the pass, outscored them passing, 313 to their 111. No turnovers. Penalties were a little much, not too bad. 5 penalties for 30 yards, but not like a whole lot. They punted 5 times, which is not really all the best, but with the way the Bears defense was playing, just how you operate, right? This is a good football team in Washington, and I saw that Sunday. They are 6-2. They are number 1 in the NFC East. The Eagles can challenge them. Yes. The Eagles can challenge them. Yes, they really could. But we're going to have to see coming up here in the next few weeks, and we may even cover that game, Commanders and Eagles. They play each other, as far as I know, for the first time this season, coming up on November 14th. So we're going to have to see on that Thursday. So we're going to have to see if that battle can match up well and what was going to happen there. But Commanders are giving everybody a run for their money in the East. The Eagles are still that team that could still make it. It's looking like a two-way race between the Commanders and the Eagles right now at this point. And I'm curious to see how Jaden Daniels is going to try to overcome that Philadelphia defense. And let's see if the Commanders can find a way to stop that Eagles rushing attack. Right now, the Commanders are a solid team. Cannot wait to see what they do. Sunday, they play the Giants in MetLife. Commanders at Giants, 1 Eastern, 12 Central, noon Central kick against the Giants. They beat the Giants earlier in the year. Beat them by 3 points. Let's see if they can go to their house and do it again and sweep the series this Sunday. Final of this game was 18-15. Commanders with a last-second Hail Mary. Jaden Daniels is just that guy, folks. He is just that guy, and I'm just going to let you guys know that now. Let's talk about the Bears before we go and move on to the injury report and get into these other games. Bears, 15 points. They had 307 total yards. Passing, not the best, 111, but rushing was a little bit better with 196. Caleb Williams had 131 yards passing, 10 for 24. DeAndre Swift played lights out, 129 yards on the ground with 1 touchdown. Caleb Williams had 41 yards on the ground as well. Roma Dunze had a 2 receptions, 13 yards. Johnson had a touchdown there as well. On the ground. On the ground, Roma Dunze had 13-yard run. Dunze had 41 yards up through the air. Allen had 39 yards. DJ Moore had 27 yards. Cole Kmet had 1 reception for 14 yards. This defense played well and they stopped them every chance they got at the red zone. They played some amazing red zone defense against Commanders' offense. This Commanders' offense is white hot in scoring, especially with Cliff Kingsbury at the coordinator spot for the Commanders. They played a really, really good red zone defense. Stat in the circle moment as I grab my pen, and I keep dropping my pens all of a sudden. I keep doing that, and I need to quit doing that. I need to quit doing it. Here's the circle moment for the Commanders, or for the Bears. Well, there's 2 if you want to look. Well, no, I'm sorry, I'm gonna keep going. There's 3 big circle moments. Circle moment number 1 is the third down efficiency. Weren't as efficient on third down as the Commanders. 2 for 12, not the best. They had 8 penalties for 60 yards, not the best. They kept shooting themselves in the foot. And a lot of penalties in this game, and a fumble, 1 crucial turnover. 3 circle moments right there that you don't need to have in this game. And there's some costly things there. And that happened to the Bears in this game. They played amazing defense. They had the heart and showed incredible heart at the end and showed some adversity by battling their way to score late, to catch that lead, to make it 15-12. It's just the Hail Mary and the favor for Jaden Daniels was on his side compared to the Bears at the end of this ball game. Back and forth. It's not going to be the last time we see the two quarterbacks go head-to-head against each other. It was one of the first games, interesting stat, where the number 1 and number 2 pick and the two previous Heisman winners back-to-back, faced off like that. It was incredible, and it was an incredible game of the weekend for me, for the NFL for sure. Back and forth, the Bears showed incredible heart. They showed that they're a team that should not be underestimated in the NFC North. If you're the Lions, Vikings, or Packers, watch out. That NFC North division is going to be tight, and the Bears are only making it tighter by the way they play, especially on the defensive side of things. I really am high on the Bears defense, especially their red zone defense. They slow a lot of people down in the red zone, and if they can keep doing that and keep playing some solid defense, it's going to win them some ball games that you don't expect them to win. So watch out for Chicago. They're going to easily get into the rhythm. They're going to easily keep going, and they're easily going to, be on top eventually. So final score of this game was Commanders 18, Bears 15. Commanders get the win after a last-second heroic Hail Mary by Jaden Daniels in this game. 18-15, Commanders defeat the Bears. The Bears Sunday, they have the Cardinals 4:05 Eastern, 3:05 Central. Bears at Cardinals on the road. Let's see who wins that game and see if the Bears can get back some momentum. The Cardinals, let's see if they can try to, get back some of keep on with some of their momentum. They beat the Dolphins by points. Let's see if they can get some of their momentum going out west as well. So 4:05 Eastern, 3:05 Central for that kickoff game. Bears at Cardinals. Commanders put the Giants NFC East divisional game Sunday. Okay, that was the Week 8 recap for our top matchups. We're going to preview the top matchups for Week 9 here in a little bit. Let's go with our injuries. And our injuries is not a whole lot, which is good. So this is going to be fairly quick. But some key injuries as of note, and it's very big that we're going to go over this. And then we're going to go over the moves. Go to the moves for the head of the trade deadline and keynote out of Indianapolis. So the Pigskin Frenzy NFL injury report looks like this. Jaguars running back Travis Etienne, hamstring injury, could return Sunday versus the Eagles. That's good news for the Jaguars. They could get back their top running back ahead of the Eagles and get him healthy and ready to go and get that running game going against a solid Philadelphia Eagles team, so they can have him back by Sunday. Good news to report by Doug Peterson and the Jacksonville Jaguars. But now let's get to the bad news for the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're missing two big receivers in their offense. Jaguars wide receiver Brian Thomas Jr. has a rib and chest injury, and he will be out 2 to 4 weeks. So 2 to 4 weeks, he will miss a few weeks due to those rib and chest injuries. So tough break there. Thoughts and prayers are with him. Hopefully he heals quite nicely and everything is good with Brian Thomas Jr. in here in his injury report. Jaguars wide receiver Christian Kirk has a broken collarbone and is out for the rest of the season. So that's a tough loss if you're Trevor Lawrence and the Jacksonville Jaguars. They lose Christian Kirk for the rest of the year. They lose Brian Thomas, so that's a hit to their two receivers. And now they have Gabe Davis still playing along with Evan Ingram. So those are the two primary targets if you're Trevor Lawrence in this game Sunday. They lose Kirk and they lose Thomas. They lose Kirk for the season and Thomas for a few weeks. Thoughts and prayers are with them, and hopefully they heal fast and we're having to make a speedy recovery in this. So big news out of Jacksonville there. We're going to keep up to date with everything for Jacksonville as the games get closer, especially if the Eagles game gets closer Sunday. Let's move on to the Houston Texans. Big news out of Houston. This is big news for C.J. Stroud and the offense for Houston. Texans wide receiver Stephon Diggs hurt his knee off a non-contact injury against the Colts this past Sunday, and it was announced with a confirmed MRI. Stephon Diggs has torn his ACL and is out for the season after suffering the injury against the Colts last Sunday. So thoughts and prayers are with Stephon Diggs. Hopefully he heals quite nicely. Big loss for the Texans offense. They lose Stephon Diggs, probably their key receiver that they acquired last offseason, and he is out for the season with a torn ACL. So hopefully he makes a speedy recovery and gets back to playing football next year quick and fast as possible. Giants running back Tyrone Tracy is in concussion protocol after exiting last week's game versus the Steelers on this past Monday on Monday Night Football. He could be trending towards the right direction. Who knows? But we're going to see how it goes this Sunday versus the Commanders. But he is in concussion protocol. He's questionable versus the Commanders this Sunday. So thoughts and prayers are with Tyrone Tracy. Hopefully everything goes better for him and he makes a speedy recovery and everything is good and he is good to go soon. Vikings offensive tackle Christian Darrisaw is out with a knee injury. He is out for the rest of the season with a knee injury. Tough break for the Vikings in this game and in this season. They lose their main dude on offensive line. Tough blow to the offensive line. Thoughts and prayers are with him. Hopefully he gets back quickly and makes a speedy recovery for next season. So Christian Darrisaw out for the year. And we're going to get into some offensive line news for the Vikings here in a little bit. Big news out of Minnesota there. Last but not least, the Cowboys are activating cornerback Deron Bland off of IR after a knee injury that he suffered. I think it was a knee injury. He's back, and he is ready to go. He could return Sunday versus the Falcons. Who knows? But he is activated off of IR, and they get a key piece of their secondary back, very, very soon, or Sunday, as soon as Sunday. So good job for congratulations to the Cowboys regaining him and Deron Bland coming back, and good news that he is making a speedy recovery and he is moving on the right track. So thoughts and prayers with everybody on this list, and hope everybody makes a speedy recovery and gets back on the field very, very soon. That was the Pigskin Frenzy NFL injury report. Other news in this league, let's talk about it. Ahead of the trade deadline, let's talk about some 3 big moves that I want to talk about, especially starting with Carolina, because this is big news. The Panthers are trading wide receiver Deontay Johnson to the Baltimore Ravens. So we talked about last week how the Chiefs and the trade for DeAndre Hopkins. And when I said, how did this happen? So how the heck did this happen? Let's talk about this. How did this happen? So they got Zay Flowers. They have Derrick Henry. They have Rashad Bateman, Nelson Aguilar, Mark Andrews, who's finally coming into his own, and Isaiah Likely to throw to. Now he's got another key receiver and Deontay Johnson. Johnson on one end, Zay Flowers on the other, with Andrews likely, Derrick Henry, Justice Hill, and Picard, all these guys on offense for the Ravens. The number one offense in the NFL, by the way, is the Baltimore Ravens. So how the heck are we letting this happen by adding a former Pittsburgh Steeler, go to his rival, by the way, not only that, but go to the best offensive team in the NFL? Because Deontay Johnson is going to bring his chef apron. He's going to put his chef hat on, and he's going to cook for this team. You guys realize what you just did. Now, if he's going up against the Chiefs, it can combat this offense with that solid defense, because the Chiefs have the number 2 defense in the NFL. But when you look at everything defensively, or offensively for this team, they got the offense to combat the Chiefs' defense too. So it's like, why are we making these moves for these teams just to build up like this and to just create chaos amongst everybody in the league? I'm just saying. I just think it's crazy. Deontay Johnson's going to cook. He's going to get some points. He's about to put up some crazy numbers with Lamar Jackson. Lamar is happy to have him, and who wouldn't be? Deontay Johnson's one of the most underrated route runners in the NFL, and he's about to show everybody why. And it's huge that the Ravens got him. They swapped out draft picks and got some conditional draft picks for him in this deal. The Panthers get a draft pick. He was not really happy with the situation and who he was traded to begin with the Panthers, and he wanted out of Carolina, so they dealt him to the Ravens. Oh no. And here we are ahead of Tuesday's trade deadline. So my thoughts are this: he's going to cook. It's going to be the best thing that's happened to Lamar Jackson. It's going to be even more bad news for opposing defenses. I'm just saying, if you want to be honest, it's one of those things where, and I'm not knocking on wood here. If you hear me knocking on wood, I'm not knocking on wood here. I'm telling you how it is. Deontay's going to cook. He's going to get yardage. He's going to help this team out, and this team's going to be even better offensively now that he is there. Point blank. Those are my thoughts. Deontay Johnson going to the Baltimore Ravens. He's going to the Ravens, and he is going to be a key part probably in their success in their offense. Panthers get some draft picks, and they are moving on to see what they can get in the trade deadline and or through the draft during the offseason. So moving on, the Jaguars are trading offensive tackle Cam Robinson to the Vikings. Big trade news here, because that was one of their key blockers for Trevor Lawrence. Now they are relying on more help on the offensive line, some younger talent on O-line, but that's okay because they're still good for Jacksonville. But are they Cam Robinson, though? That's a big question. They're trading Cam Robinson to the Vikings for a few conditional round 2026 NFL draft picks, and Cam Robinson is now a Minnesota Viking coming off the heels of Christian Darrisaw's injury. So Sam Darnold gets a huge boost in the O-line with Cam Robinson. Hopefully they squeeze him into the lineup quick. He's a very physical offensive tackle. Pass blocks very well, run blocks even better, and it's going to be a very good trade that the Vikings did. And then when Christian Darrisaw comes back, they're going to have Cam Robinson and Darrisaw on the O-line, and that's going to spell trouble for a lot of opposing defensive lines in the NFL. So let's see how it goes. My thoughts: it's a good trade. Is it a good trade for the Jacksonville Jaguars? I don't know that for certain, but it's definitely a good trade for the Vikings because they needed a solid offensive tackle after that Darrisaw injury. So good break for the Minnesota Vikings here. They pick up Cam Robinson ahead of the trade deadline from the Jacksonville Jaguars. So that Cam Robinson is now a Viking. The Patriots are trading linebacker Josh Uche to the Chiefs for a 2026 6th-round draft pick. Again, the Chiefs stack up on linebackers and stack up on Steve Spagnuolo's defense. Good trade there. Very underrated trade by Kansas City. Their defense is already solid. Why did this happen? Again, you're just letting it happen. I'm telling you, building up the Chiefs even more. But the Patriots get a solid 6th-round draft pick out of it, and they're going to see what they can do and see how they can add in the trade market coming up Tuesday. The Patriots are expected to be an active team in the trade deadline coming up this Tuesday on Election Day. So big trade there. Big depth in linebacker spot for Kansas City with Drew Tranquill already there. and Nick Bolton already there as well. So big time linebacker depth added for the Kansas City Chiefs there. So that was the trade news and then the moves around the league ahead of the NFL trade deadline for Tuesday. We're going to cover that more next Thursday and keep up with all the moves for the trade deadline coming up for next week. So stay tuned for a jam-packed NFL episode next week. But let's talk about this news out of Indianapolis, and this could change the whole complexion of the Sunday night football game this Sunday night before we go into our top matchups and preview and predict Week 9's games. The Colts are benching quarterback Anthony Richardson due to uneven play. Joe Flacco will start for this team Sunday night and potentially beyond. Okay. Recently, he made comments about being tired. And I'm going to say, no, it's not why he got benched. They said that as per ESPN and other sources and news outlets. It's not because of the tired comments that he made. No, it is not. What it is, however, is the inconsistent play of him. Just inconsistent, hot and cold. They need somebody that can spark the offense, and Anthony Richardson currently, right now, is not that guy due to uneven play and inconsistent play. He's not the guy for the Indianapolis Colts right now. They've been losing games that they really shouldn't have been losing, and I think that part of it is due to the uneven play. Now, what does this mean for the Colts moving forward? It was a winnable game for the Vikings Sunday. You think it is? Now it is definitely not. Joe Flacco came off the couch last season for the Cleveland Browns and led that team to the playoffs against the Texans. They lost, sure, but he led them there. Now he's starting. He led them to come back when Anthony Richardson was out due to injury. Joe Flacco led the Colts to wins. He almost led them to a comeback win against the Jacksonville Jaguars in overtime. He lost, but he almost led them to a comeback win against Jaguars in overtime. Joe Flacco is a Super Bowl winning quarterback with the Baltimore Ravens back in the day. He is now a backup. The Browns should have kept him. Don't know why they didn't make that offer, but Jameis Winston's doing solid for this team. Joe Flacco is for real. He's coming off the couch or the bench, technically, but I'm calling it coming off the couch once again to saddle up on his horse and become a cowboy again and start slinging the rock for the Indianapolis Colts. What does this mean for the Vikings defense? You got a game plan around a veteran quarterback in Joe Flacco who ran the ball quite well last year as well, and when he's hot, and it's hard to stop a quarterback when he's in the rhythm. And Joe Flacco here recently has gotten into the rhythm quite often. So this game has changed completely. The shift and the dynamic thing has changed this game completely. It made me reconsider wanting to cover this game, but I already made up my mind on the games I'm covering. It's all locked in. But the Colts are now starting Joe Flacco. So the Vikings better watch out Sunday. That's all I'm going to say. They better watch out. I'm calling it now, and I will post it on X, and I won't be afraid to post it on X if the Colts win this game. Watch out for Joe Flacco. When he is on, and it's hard to stop him. They are benching Anthony Richardson due to uneven play. Joe Flacco gets the start for Sunday night and beyond. Let's see how he does, and let's see if this changes anything for the Indianapolis Colts, and it could make a potential save for their season. So that was the latest news across the league and out of Indianapolis. Let's preview and predict the top matchups for Week 9 of the NFL season and our NFL Pigskin Frenzy games coming up for this week. Starting with Cowboys at Falcons. Yes, we're covering a Falcons game again. Cowboys at Falcons. Cowboys played the 49ers close. Surprisingly, played them closer than I thought they would. They lost that game still. They're 3-4. They're trying to pick up some momentum after the Lions loss, after the Niners loss, and try to pick up a wave of momentum going into Atlanta Sunday night. The Falcons are going to Atlanta Sunday afternoon. The Falcons are trying to continue to ride a wave of momentum after a good win against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the division. Let's see if they can keep going with that momentum in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. The Cowboys' keys for this game are simple. You got to win on third down. Wasn't so hot on third down this past Sunday. You got to win on third down. You got to be a lot better on third down. Keep winning on third down. Keep the drives going and keep capitalizing on those drives and turn those into points. So, number one for the Cowboys, win on third down. Number two, establish the running game. Dallas is currently 32nd in rushing offense in the league. They cannot run the football at all. It is hard for them to run the football, it seems. They cannot do it. They don't average many yards on the ground at all. If they can find a way to spark up some running offense and spark up a rushing attack on this team, the Cowboys could balance it out, and pull off a win in this ball game in Atlanta. Number three, force turnovers. If Atlanta doesn't turn the ball over, they're going to be kind of hard to stop. But if they can if Dallas forces turnovers like how Atlanta turned the ball over against Seattle a couple of weeks back, then Dallas can easily come away with a win here if they can force some turnovers in this game. So those are the three keys for Dallas and what they got to do against Atlanta coming up Sunday afternoon. The Falcons' keys are pretty simple. Number one, establish the running game. Atlanta is currently 15th in rushing offense in the league right now. Dallas currently tied for last in the league with the Panthers in rushing defense. 31st for both teams. They can't run the ball, and they can't stop the run. So it's going to be kind of hard if you can't stop the run, and if you can just try to find a way to spark up something to slow down Bijan and contain him a little bit, maybe Dallas comes up with a win. But Falcons, if they run the ball effectively on this defense, it should be an easy victorious day for the Falcons in this game. Number two, force turnovers. Dallas, and this is a good stat according to BetMGM right now. According to BetMGM right now, the Cowboys are currently fourth in the league. Fourth in the league who has turned the ball over the most with 13 turnovers. They're currently fourth in the league for who has turned the ball over the most, and it's 13 turnovers. Top five in turning the ball over with 13 turnovers. So if you can force those turnovers by Dallas, it should be good, man. If you turn the ball over and force them to turn the ball over, it should be good for you guys. Number three, find a way to get to Dak Prescott. Pressure him, get to him, sack him, force sacks, force some turnovers even with Dak Prescott. Just find a way to get to him and make the pocket collapse around him and put some pressure on Dak. And if you can do that, then a recipe for success in this ball game. So, who do I have winning this ball game? Falcons or Cowboys? I think this game will be close until halftime. I think the Falcons find a way to run away with it at home, and they get the win 31-17. Falcons 31, Cowboys 17. I think they find a way to get the job done. They run away with it at half. In the second half and get the job done. Falcons 31, Cowboys 17. Give me the Falcons and Kirk Cousins to defeat the Cowboys and win the game Sunday afternoon. So Falcons 31, Cowboys 17. Give me the Falcons to defeat the Cowboys. Okay, so Rams at Seahawks. Rams are 3-4. Seahawks are 4-4. Something's got to give. Seahawks are coming off of a huge loss to the Buffalo Bills. They got to try to get some spark back in their game. The Rams are continuing to try to, move along and trying to come back and spark that and save their season and continue their wave of momentum that they started all over again against Minnesota Vikings last Thursday. So Rams at Seahawks, something's got to give here. Let's go with the Rams keys here. NFC West showdown on the road for the Rams. Let's see what they got to do. Keys are simple. Number one, win on third down. Not the best last week. 4 for 10 last week versus the Vikings. Number one, win on third down. 4 for 10 last week versus the Vikings. Got to do better on third down. Convert that and capitalize with points if you win on third down. Number two, force turnovers. Seattle, according to BetMGM, is currently 7th in the league at turning the ball over. 7th. So they're top 10 at turning the ball over the most. Geno turns the ball over. If they can force those turnovers and capitalize off those turnovers, then the Rams have a shot at winning Sunday. Number three, established a balanced running game with Kyron Williams and Blake Corum. Yes, the pass is good, but you got to have a good running balance to cook up the pass. And not only that, do it with your rookie running back as well. Have a balanced run game with just Kyron Williams. You're giving Kyron Williams a lot of the workload. Share it with the rookie running back with Blake Corum. Corum can get a lot of touches and be really, really good for this offense if you use him a lot more. So do a balanced offense. This coming up Sunday would probably help. So balanced rushing attack by Corum and Williams is a good key in this one. The Seahawks keys are pretty simple. Number one, protect the football. If you protect the football, play clean ball, and win that way, that's a huge win there. You can win good that way. Number two, minimize the penalties. 11 penalties for 82 yards last week versus the Buffalo Bills. Yikes. Minimize the penalties, man. Clean up those penalties, and everything should be good. Number three, contain the playmakers. If you can slow down Puka Nacua, slow down Cooper Kupp, slow down those playmakers, it should be a good day in the office for the Seattle defense and for the Seahawks in general. Both keys were said, man. Who do I got winning this ball game? I think it's going to be close at home. Back and forth NFC West game. I think the Seahawks are going to remain in it. They're going to run the ball well, I think, with Kenneth Walker. I think that the Rams are going to just squeak by, though. I think the Rams right now with the receivers are too hot. I think the Rams pick up another win and continue that wave of momentum and squeak by the Seattle Seahawks close. Seattle gets the win. Los Angeles, rather. The Rams get the win close in this game. 27-20, Rams 27, Seahawks 20. I got the Rams defeating the Seahawks in Seattle by touchdown, 27-20. 27 Rams, Seahawks 20, and the Rams go to 4-4. And the Seahawks go to 4-5, and the Rams move up in the NFC West division. So give me the Rams to defeat the Seahawks Sunday. Let's talk about the Lions and the Packers. This is a key matchup, a very big matchup in the NFC North. The Lions and the Packers. Lions are 6-1. Packers are 6-2. Something's got to give here. You knew we were going to Lambeau. We have to go to Lambeau in this game. It is a huge NFC North game, and it's crucial in the division. First time these two teams are playing each other this season. Can't wait to see it. Let's rock and roll with the Lions' keys. Number one, stop them on third down. If you can slow them down on third down, make them punt, and then capitalize on that with y'all's solid offense, then the Lions should be good in this ball game. Number two, win the line of scrimmage battle. You got to be physical on both sides of the ball. And you have to win in the trenches in this game because Green Bay is physical. If you can be physical in this game and out-physical them up front, you have a shot at winning this ball game. Number three, and you're going to think, this is kind of a weird one, but number three, pressure Jordan Love. Get to the quarterback. Now, look, you're thinking, Joel, the Lions lost Marcus Davenport. They lost Aiden Hutchinson. Yes, they did. But they got Alex Onlazone. They got Brian Branch. They got guys on the defensive end. Kirby Joseph. They can do DB blitzes, DB packages that Jordan Love may not be able to read well. If they can do packages on defense they're not able to read well, they can pressure the quarterback, get to him, contain him, and put a lot of pressure on Jordan Love in Lambeau. So if they can do that, this should be a good game for the Lions to win on the road here. So crucial game here for the Lions. Those are the Lions' keys for this one. The Packers' keys are pretty simple. Number one, establish the running game with Josh Jacobs. Green Bay is currently 5th in rushing offense in the league. They run the ball so well, especially with Jacobs. Detroit, however, currently is 5th in rushing defense in the league. So top 5 rushing offense, top 5 rushing defense in the NFL. And it seems we have reached an impasse, folks. Something's got to give here. But if Josh Jacobs can find a way to run the ball effectively and the Lions can't stop it, the Packers can come away with a huge win here in Green Bay. Number 2, slow down their running game. Detroit currently is 6th in rushing offense in the league, but Green Bay is top 10. They're currently 10th in rushing defense in the NFL. So solid rushing defense by the Green Bay Packers. If they can find a way to contain Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, huge defensive win for the Packers this Sunday. They are known for running the ball well. So if you can just slow down their run, that should be good on defense and a good thing for Green Bay. Number 3, win the line of scrimmage battle. You got to out-physical them up front on both sides of the ball, and if you can do that, protect well, protect Jordan Love well, protect that offense well, also get to Jared Goff well, and beat their offensive line out, you should be good in this game. Back and forth game, crucial game here. Who do I have winning this ball game? It's hard. I do not like the spot that the Lions are in. They're coming off of a huge blowout win against the Titans. Packers are coming off of a huge win against the Jaguars in their own right. It's important because this game's in Lambeau, home field advantage. It's an NFC North game, crucial game here. I don't like the spot that the Lions are in. However, I just cannot deny what the Lions have been doing. So I'm not going to bet against the Lions. I'm going to take Detroit to win it, even though I'm not a big fan of the spot that they're in. It's kind of questionable, and I was conflicted. This was the game I was conflicted about before doing this show. Lions beat the Packers very close. I'm even going to say 23-19. Lions 23, Packers 19. Lions get the win and defeat the Packers. 23-19 is my score. Lions defeat the Packers and continue to move in the NFC and continue to move in the NFC North. So the Lions go to 7-1, Packers go to 6-3. The Lions defeat the Packers in Lambeau and get the win on the road. Okay, last game before we conclude today's episode of Pigskin Frenzy. Buccaneers at Chiefs. Monday Night Football. That Lions and Packers game is 4:25 Eastern, 3:25 Central kick. So I'm doing 1 Eastern, 2 4:25s, and now I'm doing an 8:15 Eastern Monday Night Football game. So 3 Sunday games and 1 Monday Night Football game. Monday Night Football, Bucks at Chiefs. Buccaneers are 4-4. Chiefs are 7-0. The defending back-to-back Super Bowl champions in Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City, Missouri. Monday Night Football. Something's got to give here. Another Buccaneers game, another Chiefs game that we're doing here. Let's talk about the keys in this one because it is crucial for this team. Here are my problems. Bucks are turning the ball over and have been turning the ball over the past couple of games. The Chiefs have the number 2 defense overall in the NFL, and they are a solid football team on defense. And that's what's been winning them their ball games. The problem here is the Chiefs don't have an offense quite to the liking of some. They are kind of stagnant on offense in a lot of ways. I think they need to be better. D-Hop played good Sunday, but he was very limited. He is most likely going to be able to play coming up Sunday, or coming up Monday night. So we're going to see how D-Hop does in this one. Keys to the game are simple. Buccaneers keys, number 1, protect the football. 3 turnovers last week against the Falcons. And then there was it was like 2 turnovers before that. So 5 turnovers in the last 2 weeks. Protect the football. Be better at protecting the football. You can do that. If you do that, you should be good in this game. Number 2, win the line of scrimmage battle. Your O-line is solid. If you have not allowed a lot of sacks against Baker Mayfield. If you protect Baker Mayfield and Baker Mayfield protects the ball and he cooks with the weapons that he has, besides Godwin and besides Evans, the Bucs can win it. So it's going to be tough, but the Bucs can do it if they win the line of scrimmage battle on both sides of the ball. Number 3, win on third down. You were 9 for 14 last week against the Falcons. Played quite well on third down. Capitalize on it. Win on third down. Beat the Chiefs defense and beat the Chiefs that way by being better on third down in Arrowhead and capitalizing on those drives if you're the Bucs. Here are the Chiefs' keys in this one. The Chiefs' keys are pretty simple. Number 1, you got to force those turnovers. Force Baker Mayfield to turn the ball over, and if you force him to turn the ball over, you should be good in this game. Number 2, protect the football. Mahomes has been turning the ball over as well. If you can he's been throwing a pick or 2, even 2 picks each game. If you protect the football, play clean football, you should be good in this game. So protect the football. Do not turn the ball over as much against this Buccaneers defense. Number 3, slow down their running game. All mainly defensively for the Chiefs here. Slow down their running game. Tampa Bay is currently 10th in rushing defense in the league. Kansas City is currently 2nd in rushing defense in the league. Currently rushing offense is Tampa Bay. So Tampa Bay currently 10th in rushing offense in the league. Kansas City is currently second in rushing defense in the league. So they have a huge edge in this. They can stop them, slow them down, contain them, and take away the running game and make that offense one-dimensional Monday night. So if they do that, that's a huge success to go into 8-0 this coming up Sunday. So, who do I have winning this ball game? Bucks, Chiefs. Who do I have? Give me the Bucks. Give me the Bucks to... This is a game I'm conflicted on. As I say, I was starting off with the Bucks. So this is probably a first here for Pigskin Frenzy, being conflicted on a pick mid-show. Give me the Bucks to lose this game close. I was thinking about changing my pick to the Buccaneers, but I'm going to go with Chiefs in Arrowhead, close. I think the Bucs are going to run the ball well. I do think that the turnovers are concerning me. I think the Chiefs defense is going to find a way to pop the ball out. I think the Chiefs are going to find a way to play good on defense, and that's how it's going to go. They're going to win the game. They're going to go to 8-0 and beat the Bucs very close. I think the Chiefs win it close. Chiefs win. I'm going to go by a score of 28-26. Chiefs 28, Buccaneers 26. 2-point win for the Chiefs. They win on Monday Night Football and beat the Buccaneers. Chiefs 28, Buccaneers 26. The Chiefs defeat the Bucs and go to 8-0, and the Bucs go to 4-5. So the Chiefs win on Monday Night Football and remain undefeated in Arrowhead. Okay, that was the Week 9 preview and predictions for the top matchups for the NFL season. We are out of time. A huge thank you for taking some time out of your Thursday night, out of your Halloween, and just take some time to listen to some NFL coverage presented by me. Now, if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, like each episode, leave comments down below. Spotify, Podbean, and Apple, all you got to do is just share around with others and follow on there as well. X, Instagram, and Facebook. Just type in Pigskin Frenzy. Follow like the pages there. You're going to get episode updates, get news and highlights from across college and NFL football. You're going to get trivia questions on Instagram stories. You're going to answer today's NFL question as well as all things of today for Pigskin Frenzy. Guys, check out the website, www.pigskinfrenzy.weebly.com. You're going to find a lot up there. Shout out to the Beard Club, our proud partner of Pigskin Frenzy. Click on the link tree to get some products as well. It's going to be honestly, a great weekend of football. Here comes November, Week 10 of college football. Enjoy those slate of top games. Also, Week 9 of the NFL season. Enjoy the Week 9 slate of NFL games. It's going to be a doozy. We're going to be back Tuesday to recap Week 10, preview and predict the top matchups of Week 10, preview and predict the top matchups for Week 11, and we are going to unveil our first set of Frenzy playoff rankings. Pigskin Frenzy college football playoff rankings. Our first set of the Frenzy playoff rankings will be unveiled Tuesday. So until Tuesday, the rankings that matter, I'm Joel Norris signing off. We will see you Tuesday. We will see you then. For everybody out there, enjoy this weekend slate of games. And for everybody out there, please and always stay the course.